Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The total volume of commercial exchange between the Sultanate and 10 main partners during 2016 exceeds 15 billion Omani riyals. A British research institution forecasts a rapid economic growth in the Sultanate during next year. And a Palestinian man dies after clashes with Israeli troops in anti-Trump protests. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in detail. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry clarified that the total number of the volume of the commercial exchange between the Sultanate and the 10 main partners during 2016 exceeded 15 billion Omani riyals. The percentage of the commercial exchange volume reached 80%, with a surplus in the commercial balance in favor of the Sultanate, with a value of more than 1.4 billion Omani riyals. The statement by Statistic Department in the ministry also clarified that the United Arab Emirates topped the 10 main partners in terms of commercial exchange with the Sultanate, which reached 5.5 billion Omani riyals by the end of 2016. The general expenditure by the end of October 2017 witnessed an increase by 5.6%, reaching more than 9.4 billion Omani riyals compared to the same period last year. According to the National Centre for Statistics and Information, the total value of revenue exceeded 6.5 billion Omani riyals, recording an increase of 19.2% compared to the same period last year. These statistics show that the surplus by the end of October 2017 reached more than 1.7 billion Omani riyals. A British research institution expected a rapid economic growth in the Sultanate during next year, due to the government efforts to diversify the national economy and the production of energy resources. A report by BMI Market Research Institution mentioned that the gross domestic product is expected to grow by 3.4%. It pointed out that next year an increase in oil and gas production is also possible. It also expects the oil prices to increase, pointing out that the Sultanate found a friendly environment for investment through reducing tax rates, crime levels, in addition to facilitating various services. The Sultan Qaboos University highlighted its achievements for 2017. They included the establishment of 3 new research centres, namely medical research, sustainable energy and nanotechnology centres. The university approved more than 170 research scholarships, including 7 strategic research scholarships within the royal support of His Majesty the Sultan, as well as 90 other internal scholarships. It was also able to keep in line with the international standards of university sorting. A number of colleges of the university also achieved academic accreditation from European institutions. The academics and specialists in the university, including the medical teams in the university hospital, were also honoured by a number of regional and international awards. The National Centre of Generic Health organised a scientific workshop to discuss the latest updates in the diagnosis of neurological disease and muscle atrophy among children. The workshop was held in cooperation with the Royal and Sultan Qaboos hospitals, as well as specialists from Saudi Arabia. It witnessed discussion sessions on treatment available for such diseases. During the workshop, the specialists stressed on the significance of conducting examinations and taking preventative measures. Palestinian mourners marched down the streets of Gaza today in a funeral procession for a man who died during clashes with Israel troops yesterday. The clashes erupted after thousands of Palestinians took to the streets of Gaza and the occupied West Bank for the 4th Friday in a row, protesting against U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Palestinian health officials said at least 50 protesters had been wounded by live fire, mostly among the Gaza border. An Israeli military spokeswoman said soldiers had shot at the main instigators, who she said posed a direct threat to the troops and who were trying to damage the border security fence. Israel considers Jerusalem its external and indivisible capital. Palestinians want the capital of independent Palestine state to be in the city's eastern sector, which Israel captured in the 1967 Middle East War and annexed in a move never recognized internationally. Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a statement to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, with whom he met during a surprise visit to Russia's Syrian airbase earlier this month, expressed sincere hope that key changes for the better will continue in Syria in the new year. The statement added that Putin told Assad Russia will continue to show all kinds of support to the Syrian Arab Republic in order to protect its state sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity. Russia became involved in the Syrian conflict in September 2015, when it began an aerial campaign in support of Assad's military. Putin ordered a partial withdrawal of the Russian army from Syria earlier this month. Dozens of Syrian militants and their families today left an area near the Israel-occupied Golan Heights, where they had been besieged by government forces. Their evacuation forms part of a deal to clear yet another district of insurgents. The government-controlled Syrian Central military media said 153 people, including 106 fighters, left earlier today for the village of Beit Jin towards the southern province of Dara. The al-Qaeda-linked sources said 6 buses carrying fighters and their families arrived in rebel-held parts of Dara province. The evacuation allows the government to reassert control over Beit Jin near the Golan Heights. For Gabon's poorest, medical care is hard to come by, especially for those living in remote areas. But a new clinic on wheels is hoping to change that. Here is a report.
In this poor suburb of Libreville, a visit to the doctor is a rare luxury. 38% of Gabon's population lives below the poverty line, and few can afford medical costs or the taxi fare to the hospital.
When someone is sick, we don't know what their pathology is, so what we do is we lift them and we put them in a wheelbarrow. But if they're in pain, it makes them scream, and there are some who die even before they make it here.
But now a mobile clinic is taking doctors to the sick. Financed by the government and supported by an international NGO, the SAMU Social ambulance is making its way round Gabon's poorest areas. The free clinic has no shortage of patients, like this baby suffering from ringworm. But while the medical attention is always welcome, the initiative has its limits.
Even if we give them a prescription, the patient can't take the medication because he doesn't have any money. Ideally, we'd have much more medicine and give some to the patient so that he can complete his treatment.
Medical staff on board offer first aid and in serious cases can find the patient somewhere to stay. The group was founded 6 months ago and now boasts over 100 members of staff, a dozen ambulances and an emergency phone number.
We had to do everything we could to make these people feel part of the country and provide help to reduce the mortality rate because life expectancy in Gabon is very low. Giving them back their manpower and looking after people is the best way to promote development.
The clinic on wheels has already treated 7,000 patients and now has plans to roll out in several more cities. But while the ambulance is a welcome development for Gabon's most isolated, the mobile clinic alone can't cure the country's health woes.
Still to come in our news bulletin. The wadis in the Sultanate are considered as touristic destinations to attract the visitors and tourists. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Ministry of Tourism is preparing to move 5 projects to the Omani Tourism Development Company, Omran. These projects include Ras Al Jin, Al Huta Caves, as well as Al Wafia, Al Ashkara, and Salala resorts. This is considered the first stage that came within the framework of tourism development plans in the Sultanate by the Omran Company. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry determines tomorrow Sunday as the last day for al-Bisr, or unripe dates harvest, for the current year in all the governorates of the Sultanate. With its 3 types in the ministry stores at Wadi Kabir, according to the procedures in force since previous years. The ministry also called on farmers on the necessity to preserve the quality of al-Basr or unripe date products. The wadis in the Sultanate are considered as touristic destinations to attract the visitors and tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate. After the rains in the last few days, some wadis overflooded and the level of groundwater in various wilayas increased. The families and visitors like to gather around the wadis and have a good time while enjoying the natural beauty of the Omani environment, including greenery, palm trees and villages. Al-Zahra College for Women held a ceremony to mark the graduation of a new batch of its students. The event was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Nasser bin Abdullah Al-Bakri, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth for Agriculture. Our reporter Salah bin Khalfan Al-Rabi has more details in the following report.
460 female students fulfilled their degree requirements successfully, forming the first batch of Master's and Bachelor of Law degree holders and the 13th batch of graduates from Al-Zahra College for Women.
Today is a special day for our students. We have graduation students from master and degree, baccalaureate and diploma from different specialization. They are staying in the college for most of them 4 years, and we are happy to get this day for them, and we hope they will find a job easily, and then they are get a good life, and they are making the best always in the life.
The graduates expressed their pride, joy and excitement while thanking their teachers and parents for the support they received throughout the years of studies.
Today I am very happy because I am graduating, and I am very happy because I am here in this college, and I would thank all my teacher and my friends, and especially I want to thank my father and mother because they stand behind me and guide me for everything.
I am very happy of this graduation. I receive my happiness to all my family and all people who helped me, and it made me more active in the future.
It is worth mentioning that the graduates majored in administrative and financial sciences, law, English language and literature, business administration, finance and banking, accounting, computer science and graphic design.
The memorable journey of dedication and hard work has prepared these graduates for the future. With inspiration and enthusiasm, they look forward to explore new endeavors. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, Salah bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Muscat.
Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of Shakira and Wusta and the coastal areas of Sea of Oman. Winds will be northwesterly light to moderate and seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The total volume of commercial exchange between the Sultanate and 10 main partners during 2016 exceeds 15 billion Omani riyals. A British research institution forecasts a rapid economic growth in the Sultanate during next year. And a Palestinian man dies after clashes with Israeli troops in anti-Trump protests. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsrooms and the studio, it's good night.